Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from TM Blast. I'm going to focus on the keyword heating and cooling and what one company can do to rank better in their given radius on Google Maps. We're also going to look at Bing Maps and Apple Maps. I hope you guys enjoy. All right now I'm in Local Falcon and I'm in the comparative report. Northern Heating and Air, that's going to be the company that we're going to focus on. You can see they have a northwestern grid, a lot of green dots. Out of all these dots, 11.11 is the percentage of time that they're in position 1, 2, or 3, which means they're on page 1. So you can see this entire map, there's a lot of red as you go south. Now, when I focus on any other listing here, you can see that basically from a local SEO standpoint, where your address is kind of generally how you rank around your location, but you can certainly expand this, which is why I'm making this video of how you can get more of these dots, position 1, 2, or 3. So anyway, Northern Heating and Air, let's get into their profile. So you Google that, Northern Heating and Air, and I'm going to just refresh this again so you guys can see. So you're going to get 4.4 out of 5 star reviews, which is great. The second is that they have an address, 30 Progress Boulevard. I can't stress this enough. If you are trying to rank in a given area, you need to have a storefront, you need to have a physical address. A lot of times people will reach out to me who are just a service business only, and they're competing against, let's say, 10 other locations that all have an address. If you can have an address, you can drop the pin directly where you are and then build your radius around it from like an SEO standpoint. If you're a service business, you only can list off the areas that you provide a service to, which is fine. But from a ranking standpoint, if everything else is equal, you're going to have a harder time to get into position 1, 2, or 3, which means less phone calls, less website clicks. So they're doing this really well. They have an address. Another thing going really well is that they have 24/7. That is a huge ranking factor because imagine at 2 o'clock in the morning, your heater breaks, you're able to Google the term heating and cooling in, let's say, Fort Edwards. You will find these people, which is great, but we're looking to expand the map. So that's really good. Another small ranking factor that's doing very well for them is that their area code is 518. That is the upstate New York. So like Saratoga, like Albany, all that kind of stuff. That is the local area code. That is much better than a toll-free number. That is helping them. So if they had a toll-free number, I would always suggest, get the 518. You can see areas served. So they have Saratoga County. Now, this is where the opportunity really is. You can see they only have listed off as 5 different locations. With the areas served, it's not actually a big ranking factor, but it's more of a trust signal standpoint. So you have up to 20 that you can list off to. So I would have as many different towns nearby the address that you're willing to drive to. That's going to help maybe from like a click-through rate or even a call click-through rate improvement because somebody can see that you can go out to their location, you can service them, it can lead to more phone calls. So take advantage of the 20 open spots that you can use. So again, they only have a few. You can list off plenty more. It's not a big ranking factor, but it can help increase the phone calls. They don't have any Q&As. So Q&As, very indirect ranking factor. But again, what we're trying to do is build out the profile. So if you can say things like, what's your cost, or do you have a free estimate, or do you have 24 hours, or anything else like that, just ask the question and then answer it. It's going to be a great way to keep expanding the listing. One thing, I'm going to refresh this page again just to kind of show you something. So they have actually they don't. They don't have a description. That is a huge missed opportunity for them. The description is, I think, 750 characters. And I'll bring over TM Blast right now as the example, just so we're all looking at this together. So if you Google TM Blast, now it's going to look different because I'm signed in. I have a description down here where it says TM Blast LLC is a New York SEO company, and then continues. You want to write down exactly that you do heating and cooling. You want to start that off in the first sentence if you can. More of the primary keyword should be at the beginning because that's going to be what's first seen by Googlebot when they're crawling through. That's going to be a ranking factor. Also from a trust signal standpoint too. Secondly, you can list off different towns and cities nearby in your description. It's a great way to kind of build, again, that trust for users, but also when Googlebot is rendering your page, when they crawl it, they crawl the data, they'll see your primary keyword and also the towns you do as well. Let's move this over again. Another thing that they can do is they can have updates. So again, let's bring over TM Blast. You can see over here, down here in the bottom, I list off a ton of things going on new with my business. So I have free local audits. I have SEO case studies, everything else like that. Updates is a great way to show if you're going to a nearby town or location, you can say, hey, we just serviced Queensbury or Glens Falls or Saratoga for a project, have the photo, or you can even have updates, have like a call to action. So call now, you're looking for a free quote or anything else like that. make your updates, and then include the words heating and cooling within those updates. It's really going to help from a ranking perspective. I'm going to take a look into their Bing profile. Now, I don't have any tracking software like Local Falcon to do a heat scan, but I like to take a look at it just from a bird's eye view and give some suggestions. So over here on Bing, Northern Heating and Air, you can see they have their knowledge panel over here on the left-hand side, and they have some Facebook reviews, and they have a little bit of a description, but not too much. The main thing that I would do from a Bing Maps perspective is that I would have a professional services checked off as your category, because then you can show the nearby towns and cities that you do business at. So what I mean by that is that if you, let's say, service Glens Falls or Saratoga Springs or Boston Spa or anywhere else like that, you can list that off directly in your Bing profile. Again, it's a slight ranking factor, but it also can increase the click-through rate for your Bing account. And before you dismiss, how important Bing will be, just in 2024 alone, for all the websites that I manage and the clients, they make up 17% of the traffic. So the 17% of traffic, it's a mix between local and national projects that I own. From local, it's really going to vary. We don't really care too much about KPIs like phone calls, because a lot of people, from a Bing perspective, mobile's like 2%. But for desktop, though, it could be upwards of 15% or more. So we look at Bing as more of like an awareness campaign. So I can't necessarily increase the phone calls from Bing, but what I can do is that if somebody is using Bing, maybe they're using Edge on their computer, they search for heating and cooling. We just want to get their radius further seen, so then they can potentially get more awareness and maybe get some more website clicks. So it's harder to measure with Bing, but I would say a lot of people don't even look at it. So you have an opportunity to kind of leapfrog the competition and just get more visibility. Great way to build out your local SEO. The last part that I'm going to look at is Apple Maps. Now, Apple Maps, if you're not familiar, is they just came out with a beta version for desktop use, which is completely new in 2024. But as I'm recording this on my iPhone, that is the default map on iOS and iPad. So if you're ever doing, searches on, let's say, Safari, or if you open up anything in like a link, it's going to default to Apple Maps. Apple Maps is a big opportunity right now because a lot of companies are not on it, and they're also not optimizing their account. For some of my clients, they get about 3% of their monthly phone calls to Apple. And we're talking, about 15 or 20 more phone calls they're getting out per month just by being on there. So it is important. So let's take a look at the Apple Maps profile. So I'm in the beta.maps.apple.com. So eventually this will change to just simply Apple Maps. But I searched for Northern Heating and Air. Here's some things that I would recommend. So again, I don't have access to their Apple Maps account, so I don't know for sure. But I can see that they only have 2 Yelp reviews. I'm sorry, they have 4 Yelp reviews at a 2 star. So I would be encouraging to get more reviews on Yelp. So if you do a project, have a QR code, scan it, leave a Yelp review. You really want to improve that. The star rating is a ranking factor on Apple. Another thing that I would do is it says accepts cash, accepts credit cards. I would highly encourage you to add Apple Pay here and contactless pay, because let's say there's like a problem at your house or whatever's going on, and you need like an emergency service. If you can just pay directly on your phone, if you have an iOS device and you have, let's say, a credit card saved to it, you can just pay it right there. It sounds kind of silly, but if you're gonna be a 24/7 company, try to do accepts Apple Pay, because if you can show that, that is a slight ranking factor, especially if you're open 24/7. I would make it as easy as possible for somebody to pay for you. One thing here that's kind of missing is that there's no showcase standpoint. So if I was managing this account, I would showcase, different projects we're doing, but also do any type of sale or opportunity for somebody to get either like a quote or anything else in the area. And then finally, the last thing is the description. Again, I don't see it here. They might have it. I can't see it within the beta version, and it might be the case because on Google they don't have it. But if I do this again, I'll do Northern Heating and Air. You can see there is no description. So I would go back into your Apple Maps account. I would write a description. It's actually going to be less than 750 characters, unlike Google. But it's just a great way to kind of, again, say we do heating and cooling. We service these towns and cities. We accept Apple Pay, cashless, everything else like that. Just a good way to kind of expand your reach. Anyway, that's the video. So really just in high level summary, heating and cooling, they have 11%, 11.11% share of local voice in their area. What I recommend is to have some questions and answers, have some updates, have a description that shows that they do this. And here are the nearby towns. I would also list off all 20 service areas that they do within Google. That's a great head start for them to rank better on Google. When it comes to Bing for professional services, you can certainly list off all the areas that you provide a service to. Currently, they're not doing that. And then with Apple Maps, we know where their description is missing. I mentioned they should get to contactless pay and also Apple Pay. That would be a ranking factor. Plus, also they can write a description to rank better and have a showcase. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. The main thing is maybe this kind of sparked some new ideas for you guys to add to your profile so you can rank better. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. And as always, have a good rest of your day.